Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking to you snowbirds. Snowbirds, don't buy a second home. Do this instead. And I have been well aware of snowbirds, actually both of us, but definitely me. We have been very well aware of snowbirds from middle school. I think I recall snowbird situations because I grew up in Florida, in South Florida, and the city that I grew up in was very popular for snowbirds, and they all had second homes there. And you knew when it was time when you started seeing for every three cars that you saw, the license plate on two of them were from either Michigan, Ohio, or Canada. And Rob is from Michigan, if you don't already know that. So he's well aware of snowbirds. Yeah. And just, we just knew about snowbirds, and we're like, why would you do that? Why would anyone want to do that? Move from there to here? It made no sense at the time.
Yeah, I remember in the winter, be like, okay, Grandpa and Grandma are gone now. Every year, it'd be like, well, we won't see them for a few months. And, the population really did decline in the winter in Michigan because a lot of people would go to Florida. And I didn't really get it at the time, but now we do get it. Now we would not want to brave that cold. And a lot of people are still looking for that alternative. And Florida's a choice you could make to do that, but we found something that is going to be better than going to Florida, and that is take those few months and don't get that home in Florida, but go to another country where you can really expand your horizons and do some really unique things, meet up with some great expat snowbird communities in other countries, and have a wonderful time.
Yeah, I think this is so huge to not go someplace in the United States, to go someplace outside the United States. And before you balk at that, we're talking about doing a slow travel situation during your your snowbird months, and that is to you can stay in a lot of countries. You can stay for longer than a week. You can stay for a month, 2 months, 3 months, depending on where you're going. And there are lots of visa alternatives that are not challenging to get in a lot of countries, and I think it's extremely helpful and such an enriching experience to spend those months in a different culture, and you're just going to have an incredible experience overall, way better than just going to the beach in Florida.
Yeah, because to do this, you won't need to buy a property. You won't need to get a long-term visa because you're still living in the United States. You can do this all on a tourist visa because in Vietnam, you'll get 90 days. In Malaysia, you'll get 90 days. In Thailand, you get 30 days, but you can extend it up to 60. And if you just kind of take some of these places and pair them together, even Japan, you get 90 days. You can basically fill up all those snowbird months. It's only 4 or 5 months that you need to fill, depending on how long you actually want to be away from home. And you can do that easily every year and just see a different part of the world, or keep going back to a part of the world that you love. Now, we are currently filming this from Southeast Asia in Thailand, and it is probably the ideal place for snowbirds to go. It's pretty amazing that time of year. We've been here actually doing this. We've been here since November. It is now April. We've basically spent all the snowbird months in Thailand. And the weather has been really wonderful if you're trying to get away from the cold. It is the cooler season for Thailand. It's a little bit cooler than in the summer. They have the same summer and winter that we do. But it's definitely cooler. Now it's April, almost getting into May. It definitely is starting to feel a little bit warmer this last couple of weeks. But that December, January, February months, the weather was just fabulous.
Oh, it was ideal. And you could tell, too, that people are starting to know what the best times are to come to Southeast Asia, because the weather is so nice during that time of the year. You don't have all the rain to contend with, less mosquitoes to contend with, and it's just nice out. And then on top of that, you get the cultural and the experience of being there.
Now, price-wise, we have gone all over the country. We've been in Bangkok, we've been to Hua Hin, we've been down to the beach area, and we've been spending, we did get a place in Hua Hin. You can spend $600-700 a month there, at the beach, you can easily do that for less than $1,000. And we've been spending around $1,000 in Bangkok as well. We have been doing a mix of Airbnbs and hotels, so tons of options available to you. But housing will not be nearly what it would cost you to go to Florida and spend whatever you're going to need to spend there. So that's one real positive. A second positive for us has been whenever we come to Thailand, we, especially Bangkok, we do get all of our medical care, our checkups taken care of. And we have been, it seems like we've been to the doctor like every week. And we've just been we've had some things we needed to get taken care of. And then they're like, oh, they're back. But the funny thing is that the doctor's visits here, if you just pay cash, not even counting any insurance you might have, if you just pay cash, the doctor's visits are like $20. And then the medication is like a couple dollars a month that you're getting. So it's literally the price that you would pay with really good insurance at home is the price you pay without insurance here. And it's really high quality doctors that we're seeing.
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest shocker. And we kind of stockpiled all of the checkups that we wanted to do, just our typical, annual blood work, things like that, or just like, I have to have my thyroid levels checked, have that testing done. So there's so much that you can do. Even if you wanted to do like, a full body everything, you could do that as well. And it's so easy, and it doesn't take forever is the other big thing. Mm-hmm. You can call, actually, I don't even call. I just text the doctor's office that we have here. I just text them and say, hey, when can we come in? And usually it's the same day if we want to. They'll say, oh, do you want to come in today at 4 or at 5? Or, they say, you can come in tomorrow if you like. We can do an appointment then. And we just pick a time. It's that simple. And then you go in, and we got the blood work. We had the results back in a day. Mm-hmm. Which was so crazy. Not only the results back, but also with doctor's notes attached. And then if the doctor wanted you to come in, then they would add that too or not, which we didn't really need a lot aftercare for those results. But it was really amazing that it's that simple. Same thing with the hospital. I had to have my knee checked out. And I just made the appointment in the app for the hospital. Went in, made the appointment with the orthopedic doctor myself. I just did it right in the app, went in, and it's so fast. It's not like it's crowded. You walk in and you're waiting 2 minutes in the chair, and they call you back, and the doctor's waiting in the room for you. And you see the doctor, and then you're done in, 30 minutes.
Yeah, and it's interesting because if you need to have like a surgery or something done, like we're often thinking like, oh, I gotta have surgery. Well, that'll probably be in like 2-3 months. Not to set all this stuff up, do all this testing. It's like you come in to have surgery in Asia, and it's like you're like, okay, how's tomorrow? You're like, I was not prepared to be having surgery tomorrow. Like I was thinking this would be like a month away. No, they're just like, we can do it tomorrow. And it's so crazy. You're just done. And that's amazing but you really do have to think about it. Like they'll be ready to go. Like if you have something you want to do, they might do it that day.
Yeah, you're just like, whoa, I have to mentally prepare myself for this.
Yeah, you do have to be prepared.
I had to get an injection in my knee, and they were like, well, do you want to come this afternoon? No, I don't. I have to prepare mentally for this. When else? Give me 2 days to think about it. Yeah. And they were like, okay, well, pick your appointment. You can pick whatever time you want and come in. It was just like, okay. It's just really crazy.
The speed is shocking at which things happen. Then, I think another thing that people say that we hear is like, well, that all sounds great, but I don't want to live in those conditions. And it's like, it's obvious you've never been to Asia, Southeast Asia, because the conditions that people talk about is like, it's better than the US. Like it's more modern. The apartments are more modern. The malls are more modern. The transportation is more modern. It's simply amazing. Like sometimes we'll treat ourselves and we'll be like, we're going to go to the beach. We're going to get a nice condo. You can get things there that you couldn't even dream of getting in Miami or California. We rent sometimes at the beach in Thailand. We'll get a 1-bedroom condo with sky pools and amazing features. And the last time we did it, we got one with a hot tub on our balcony overlooking the beach. And I was like, this is crazy. It's just something that we would never dream of. I don't know how much that would cost in the U.S. You can get this for like $1,500 a month. And it's just kind of blows your mind.
Yeah, it's affordable luxury is what it boils down to, because there's so much available that you just don't think about, or you just don't even register because it's not something you could afford in the US, so you don't ever even consider it. But here it's just like those options are, wider for what type of luxury you can do for the budget that you have.
I do also want to say that expat communities abound here in Southeast Asia, and they do tend to group together. One of the big places that we just went to was Hua Hin, and they have actually assisted living facilities for expats there for when you get older in age. But when you go to these places, you'll immediately see all of the Westerners that are there, and you will have, like, we met so many people that we knew, that knew us just walking around the streets. So many Americans, so many people from Europe that just had the same like-mindedness, and it was kind of crazy to meet that many people that were kind of living the same lifestyle.
It was. I felt like we entered in like some sort of twilight zone of some sort, where it's like we're in some sort of community of it felt almost like a bubble, but it wasn't. Of just support too is the other thing. Not just the community, but just having the support of all of the people around you.
Yeah, and I think like if you want to avoid that, like you don't want to be near a bunch of other people, come to a place like Bangkok or Saigon, because there's such big cities that there will be more locals. But in the smaller areas, you're going to see so many expats that if you're concerned about not having people around that you could hang out with, and that's not going to be a problem. Another reason to come to Southeast Asia as opposed to Florida is elders are treated with such incredible respect here. We've seen so many instances of elderly people being helped above and beyond by local Thai people. They just go out of their way, and they treat elders with respect, a level of respect that you do not see in the United States.
Yeah, it was really interesting. We've seen it tons of times. Like if you're in a big city, like here in Bangkok, public transportation, you'll see, elderly people on the trains. They have special seats assigned to them, for them, reserved for them on the trains, and as well as like monks or pregnant women and things like that, or disabled. But one of the big things that you'll notice when you're on the trains, even when they're as crowded as can be, those seats are usually left empty. And when they're not, if they see somebody, the second they see somebody get on the train that looks like they might need that seat, they quickly get up and offer it, to that person. So it's really beautiful to see that in the culture. We also saw this like even in the massage shops. We were getting a massage one day, foot massage, and so we were just sitting there resting, and an elderly man was getting a foot massage as well, and he was having a hard time putting his shoes on. They helped him put his shoes on, helped him down the front steps to go back out. It was so lovely, and just really refreshing to see that.
Another thing is that language is not necessary. People think to themselves, I don't know any language, I'm going to really struggle. You don't need to know any language to come to Southeast Asia. If you're in any place that has any expat population at all, everything will be in English. Everything is in English in Bangkok. Everything is in English. Pretty much everywhere we go other than Japan, you will not need to have any language. Malaysia, that's all they speak basically is English. You will not hear anything but English. You will not see signs in anything but English. It is pretty much just English.
Yeah, it was really kind of shocking because we always learn a few words before we go. Thank you, hello, goodbye, yes, no, those types of things, bathroom, important things. We try to learn before we go to each place, and you can still do that. We're not discouraging you from learning the local language. It does get you, an extra smile or whatever. They're not going to treat you poorly just because you do not speak the language here. That's what's really cool about it. It is, they know it's a challenging language for some people, not for everybody, but for some people, it can be very challenging to learn an Asian language. So they're very understanding about that. And if you just show that, you're trying, or, you ask for things with kindness, they are definitely going to help you and continue to assist you, and not having to, like Reb said, most people speak English anyways, or they'll at least be able to understand what you're saying in English, even if they don't respond to you in English. So it is kind of refreshing to have that.
Yeah, I think another objection that people have to doing this is the flight time is going to be, and it is going to be long, but it's not going to be as long as your drive from Michigan to Florida, which is also going to be very long. And so really the concern is not the time, because you're already going a long way. The concern would be the comfort that you're going to be in. You don't really want to do a 24-hour flight in coach at our age or older than us. It does get to be a little bit difficult. So what we recommend doing is saving up your points and booking into a business class flight. Now, you can get a lot of extra points when you open up a credit card. They will have welcome offers available with that. You can use those points for free business class tickets. That is what we attempt to do, because you're only flying one round trip, once to get there, once to get back. It's not really that expensive. We do have a link in the description of this video showing you which credit cards we get and which ones give us the points that we use to get those. Then the thing that goes with that is you also get lounge access when you're at the airport. If you get a card like the Amex Platinum or the Chase Sapphire Reserve, you will get airport lounge access, which goes a long way to making that travel day a lot better. Now, it's not a great travel day driving to Florida either, so don't get me wrong, but if you could fly business class to Asia or have to drive from Michigan to Florida, I would fly business class over driving to Florida.
Oh, no question, for sure. It's a good experience, and you get there and you're refreshed because you got to at least lay down, and you get a little extra food, a little bit nicer food as well. It doesn't sound like it's much of a difference, but I promise you, it is a huge difference. It is an enormous difference when you do a flight like that, and you want to get there and have your wits about you and not be, disoriented. You'll already be disoriented a little bit, but you don't want to be so disoriented that when you get there, you're just like, oh my gosh, I don't know what's happening. I'm falling asleep just walking, It's very uncomfortable to do a flight this long in coach, in economy. So definitely save those miles and points so that you can get a much better deal and be able to get premium economy or even get a business class flight.
Now, I don't know who the original trailblazers were of the whole Snowbird idea from the states of Michigan and the ones around it back in the day. They did have a great idea, and it was a great thought. Get out of the cold, go down south to Florida. But this option really wasn't available to them back then, but now it is. And now it's become so much easier that it's basically tailor-made for you to do this. And it may be time for you to start thinking about becoming one of the new trailblazers and saying, we're going to go look at this and do it for a year, see what happens. You don't have to commit your whole life to it. You're just going on a tourist visa. You don't even have to get anything special for this. Just saying, we're going to go for 3 months, 4 months and try this out. That is something that is well within the grasp of most people to do, and it could be something that changes how you look at the world.
Yeah, guys, hopefully this was extremely helpful. If you're looking at something like this, or thinking about something like this, or even if you weren't thinking about this and it's a brand new idea to you and you're like, wait a minute, what? You probably have questions, so leave those down in the comment section. If you enjoyed this, give us a like, consider subscribing to the channel for more content like this, and we'll see you guys next time.